Okay. Seems like 10 people haven't joined yet, at least. The regular 10-15 more people join. But I wanted to get started. So anyway, I mean, before we get started with this, so what questions, any questions on the text function that I gave you yesterday? Any questions at all? Anybody? Anything from the text function questions, guys? Shweta, anybody?
Not from my end, Pratik. I have already gone through all and tested. I have already submitted assignment as well.
All right then. All right then. Anybody else? No? All right then, let's get started with the agenda that we want to discuss today. We want to talk about a concept called as co-related subquery. But we'll first understand, I mean, how do we help Queen of England buy a new diamond? Imagine, she published a newspaper ad that, hey, I'm looking to buy a new diamond. And she put across two criteria. The first criteria that she put across was, let's say, is that it should be bigger and it should have more clarity. Imagine clarity is some kind of a clarity index is some kind of a quality metrics for the diamond. So bigger and more clarity than all of our existing diamonds. Than all of our existing diamonds. That's the criteria that she put across. It should be bigger and it should be better, more. I mean, it should have more clarity index than all of our existing diamonds. Yeah. Imagine, there is a salesperson who reaches out to the Queen of England's office and says that, what, I've got 4 exclusive diamonds that I would like to show to the Queen. Imagine this is SD table. Okay, seller diamond table, which has 3 things in it: name, size, and let's say some kind of a clarity index. Okay. Now, let's say there are 4 diamonds, and these are the sizes in carat. I mean, 6.5 seems to be very, very high. And the clarity index is like this. Okay. Now, what is it that you would do? Suppose you are working with the Queen of England office. So what would you do? Let's say you call the seller and say that, all right, you're confident, we've seen your application. Why don't you come to our office? And what we will do is we will take 1 diamond at a time, 1 diamond at a time. And we will take that 1 diamond at a time and we will compare that diamond with what? We will take that 1 diamond and we will compare the diamond with all the existing diamonds that the queen has, all the existing Queen diamonds, isn't it? Right? And let's say this one comparison operation is this is a comparison operation. Right? And in the comparison operation, imagine we write a query, right? Let's say we have taken the first diamond, this one. Let me highlight this, italize this as well. So the query that may look like in SQL, if you were to compare something like this, it may look something like this, right? Select from, let's say from QD table, QD is the name of the Queen's Diamond table, where QD dot size is greater than, let's say the first one size is what, 6.5, and QD dot clarity index is more than 89%. Now, for a diamond to be selected from a seller, for a diamond to be selected, for example, for this diamond to be selected, shortlisted by the Queen, there should be no diamond. There should be no diamond here, right? There should be no diamond in the Queen's Diamond table which meets this criteria. Do you all agree?
Yes.
There should not be any diamond in the Queen's Diamond table that meets this criteria. Then only would you say that this diamond, is shortlisted, isn't it? So there should not exist any row out of this query. This query should not return any row. Do you all agree?
Yes.
For a diamond to be selected. So here we will write not exist. Which essentially means this query, this not exist is like a true and false condition, right? This not exist will become true when? When do you think this not exist will become true?
When there would be no such diamond of
Yeah.
this.
That means this not exist will become true when this query returns how many rows? Returns
NA.
Zero.
null row.
Null. Yeah.
That means this not exist will become true when the query, the inner query, returns nothing, isn't it? And if this becomes true, right, then we may say where not exist, select star from SD. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That means select all the columns of the diamond where there are, select all the columns of the diamond for which there are no row in the Queen's table where the size and the clarity index is better or bigger. Is it making sense?
Yep.
Now, in this query, in this inner query, we have written this 6.5 manually and this 89% manually, isn't it? Could we not have written it like this?
Yes.
If we write it like this, then we're not worried about running this operation so many times, isn't it? Everybody, is everybody with me so far? Right now, if you see
Pratik, one moment.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Then we
Pratik,
need.
Naveen here. So if we write where QD dot size, it will go to size column, right? And specifically, it will not pick. I mean 6.5 or
We
6.2.
need-
It will be for the entire size column, right?
No, that's what I was about to get to. That's exactly what I was about to get to. You see, the moment in a subquery, you guys understand what a subquery is, right? The inner query, the nested query, the query inside on the query. The moment in a subquery, you refer to a field from an outer query. In the outer query, we have opened which table? SD table.
SD.
The moment you refer to a field from the outer table in an inner query, you convert that inner query into something called as co-related inner query. Co-related subquery. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, guys?
Yes.
What is the function of this correlated subquery?
Coming. The moment you refer to a field from the outer table in the inner query converts into correlated subquery, and its execution would depend upon number of rows in the outer query. and the inner query will execute once for each row of the outer table. That means in this case, if the outer table, SD table, has 4 rows, then the inner query will run once for each row of the outer table. That means the first time the inner query will run, it will run for this row. The second time inner query will run, it will run for this row. The third time in the inner query run, it will run for this row, and so on and so forth. Is it making sense, everybody?
So Prateek, it's automatically it's doing loop, or we have to put into the loop?
Absolutely right. Whoever asked this question, I could see your name. This is like writing a loop inside another loop. So if you have ever done coding in your life, then you would have written a for loop inside another for loop, or a do while loop inside another do while loop. So it's exactly like that, nested loops. So here, the moment you refer to a field from the outer table in the inner query will start executing once for each row of the outer table, right? Because its execution now depends upon the field from the outer table. So far, whenever we have used inner query, for example, we have used inner query while writing in statement, not in statement, union statement. We have never referred to any field from the outer table in the inner query. But this is the first time where we are referring to the field from the outer table in the inner query. And the moment you refer to the field from the outer query in the inner query will then depend, execution of that inner query will depend upon the outer query rows. It will execute once for each row of the outer table, right? And if it runs once for each row of the outer table, it's like running it in a loop. This will run for as many number of times as there are number of rows in the outer query. Got it? Very, very helpful when you want to compare one row at a time from one of the table with all the rows of the other table. When you want to compare one row of a table, right, with all the other rows of another table, and you want to repeat this operation as many number of times as there are number of rows in the outer table. Got it?
Prateek,
Could you please re-explain why it is called correlated?
Because now the inner query is related to the outer query because it refers to a field from the outer table. Do you understand?
Got it. Yes,
So
the
it's
number
also
of
called,
record the outer table had, it will run as much as time the number of record outer table has, right? That's why it is correlated.
yeah.
Got it.
And it is also called as a dependent subquery. Do you understand, Gunjan, why a dependent subquery?
Yes, absolutely.
Because you're referring to the field from the outer table. That means that now there is some kind of dependency, some kind of relation between the outer query and the inner query.
Got it, Pradeep. Thanks.
So in this case, it will run 4 times.
It will run 4 times. So the first time it runs, what is sd.size value?
6.5.
6.5. And sd.ci is 89%. So how many rows, or which are the rows in the QD table, let's say, which have size greater than 6.5 and clarity index more than 89%. If there exists any row, right, then this not exist will become false. But if there does not exist any row, then this not exist will become true. And if this becomes true, then the first row from this SD table will be printed. That means this will be printed, right? And then the same operation will continue for the second one. This time it will be 6.2 and 94%.
Prateek,
But Pratik, the input that we are looking for is that it should compare the existing diamond of the queen. So where is that comparison going happening?
Existing is in QD diamond table. all the diamonds in the QD table are the
Oh,
existing
Queen's diamond. Okay. Okay.
Queen's diamond. I mean, I've called it as a QD table.
Okay.
Pratik, I want to know how many tables is there? Only single table or multiple? I can't understand.
SD table and QD table. So there are two tables we're assuming.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
So seller diamond table is compared with the QD diamond with the given criteria in the
Absolutely.
subquery.
And
Okay.
each row
Okay,
of
for
the
each
seller
row.
diamond table is compared with all the rows of the Queen's diamond table.
Okay, got it. Got it. Pratik.
And see, I'll tell you one more. I'll give you one more this thing. Huh? Suppose you're trying to find out. Let's say there are 3 people here, right? Imagine you want to find out this person, the new person, is this person taller than each one of them? So what would you do? You will take this guy and you will make him stand against this person. Then you'll make him stand against this person. Then you'll make him stand against this person. Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That means what we are trying to say is that this person, that means this row, imagine this is a row from some table, is being compared with all the rows of one of the other tables. And now imagine if there were not just one person here, there were multiple people, right? And imagine one more situation, one more use case. Imagine these 3 people represent 3 renowned scientists working in one company. Three renowned researchers working in one single firm, right? And that firm is thinking of hiring one more renowned scientist. Did you understand the situation? This research science firm is thinking of hiring one more renowned research scientist, right? But the criteria there is that they will hire the new research scientist only if that new research scientist brings a skill set which none of the existing research scientists in the firm has. Did you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Pratik.
Yes, yes, Pratik.
And who are these people? Let's say these people are the prospective
Candidates.
candidates proposed by the HR team. I get a point. There are 5 of them. What would you do? You will call one person at a time, right? You will compare that one person's skill set with all the existing research scientists in the firm, right? And you will repeat the same operation how many times?
5 times.
5 times here?
5.
Do you all agree?
Yes.
Any questions on that?
No, no, Pratik.
There are 2 loops. So 5 times here and 3 times here.
It will be 15.
No, Ashish. What happens is each candidate will be compared with.
With 3 of times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand. I mean, I'm considering that comparison with existing research scientists as one operation, Ashish.
Okay, okay, okay.
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 It's like calling that person for the interview to the office and saying that, all right, in a day we will only call one person. Because that person has to meet with everybody and then you compare that person's skills with everybody, then only would be higher. I get what?
Yes, yes.
All right. Now, so the query then would look like for this one, assuming that, let's say this is prospective and this is existing, or let's say this is current. Yeah. So then you would write the query as select from prospective. Let's say P, prospective as P, where not exist select star from
Current.
current as C, where C dot skill is
Not equal to.
same as
P dot skill.
or maybe is better than. I mean, let's say better is some kind of a assessment, standard assessment or something like that. Is better than P dot skill, right?
Okay.
Then only would we say that select star. Meaning it's like saying from the prospective table, since we where not exists, select star from current C. Since we are saying C dot skill should be greater than P dot skill, right? Since we refer to a field from the outer table, P dot skill, that means we are referring to a column from the P table, which is an outer table. The moment you do so, the inner query will become dependent query, and it will run once for each row of the outer table. So the first time it runs for, let's say, this particular person from the prospective table. I get point. And then it will figure out how many rows, I mean, the number of rows in the current table where the skill is better. If there is no such row, that means this not exist will become true, and if this becomes true, then it will go ahead and print the first row from the prospective table. And similarly, it will go through each and every row from the prospective table and repeat this inner query 5 times. Is it making sense?
Pratik, I have one question. So
Sure.
what if we don't want true or false? We want that, accept or reject. Is there any possibility of having that?
You have to repeat that question. I just couldn't understand. What did you ask?
I'm saying that instead of getting the output as true or false, is it possible that we get an output like, if it is true, then reject or something like that? If we can replace true and false with another output.
That you can do with the help of common table expression on top of it, right? The selected ones are the ones who are, you just have to write a property around it, right?
Okay.
I mean, I could literally, I mean, you don't even have to do CTE here. I could literally write selected as status. I get point, Ankita. It's just a label that you're adding against the person who gets selected.
Okay, so I can just modify the query.
Yeah,
Got it.
because the non-selected one, the rejected ones are not even shown here.
Got it.
Now, I'm going to extend this example a little bit further, and I'm going to talk about that. Here we have assumed different tables, both in this statement as well as in this statement. Imagine we want to find out the second tallest person within a batch of people, right? Let's say within the student community, I want to find the second tallest person, right? Second tallest person. Imagine there are 3 people, or let's say there are 5 people, right? And let's say the table is something like this: ID, name, and height. ID 2, 3, 4, 5. Name is A, B, C, D, E, and the height is, let's say, height is, let's say, 5.6, 5.4, 8, 5.2,
5.5.
7. Pretty short height average here. Imagine the name of the table is student, right? My question is, who was the second tallest person? We have to find the second tallest person using, using folders of query. I know there are other methods as well, but let's say if I want to apply this. Within the same table, I want to find the second tallest person. That means I want to take one row at a time, compare this person's height with all the other rows of the same table. And if there is only one person whose height is taller, whose height is more than this person's height, that means that person is the second tallest person. Do you all agree?
Yes.
For a person to be second tallest, there should be only one more person in the same class, same student table, where the height is more, isn't it? So that means what we have to do is we have to find out how many rows are there in the student table itself, where the height column is more than a selected student's height. Does that make sense? So that means if I want to consider, if I want to open this table, select star from student as S1. I'm going to open the student table as S1 in the outside query, and then I'm going to open the student table as S2 in the inner query. Where, and we will see, what we write after where. This time not writing exist and not exist. Where select from student as S2, where S2 dot height is greater than S1 dot height. And yeah, that's it. How many rows? That means if I write select count star, it gives me the number of rows in the student S2 table where the height is more than a selected student's height. Got it? The inner query will give you what? It will give you the number of rows in the S2 table where the height is more than a particular student's height in the S1 table, right? And if this is equals to what value? Would you actually go ahead and print the, what should this count star be equals to for you to be able to select the student from the S1 table?
1. Because we want second highest.
What do you guys think?
Only one. Okay.
Equals to 2 because we are looking for second highest.
That should be 1 then.
So what should it be, Vivek? Vivek, Gunjan, Tarun.
One Pratik.
One. Lock कर दिया जाए.
Yes.
Could we lock the answer?
From my end.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Tarun,
one I think. I'm not sure 100%, but yeah.
no, but why would you be not sure? See, for example, when would you select a student to be the second tallest?
She should be on first position. That's one.
No, second tallest. That means that person, I mean, there should be only one more person in the table whose height is more than that person's height.
Yeah, 5.8 is greater.
Right, Tarun?
Yeah, and 5.8 is greater than B. It's taller than M.
Sorry, there is, what did you say?
I said that the third one is taller than him.
But what will we write after where?
This one?
Aren't we comparing? Yes.
This is what we are writing, where this query results into 1. This is what we have written.
So Pratik, what does this query is returning each time it is running the inner query?
So what would happen is, let me show you the execution sequence, right? The first time, because we are using the inner, we are using the outer queries field here, s1.height here. So it's like this, you know, there is a clone of this table. Imagine there is a clone of this table. This is S1 and this is S2, right? For the first row from the S1 table, right? Height is what? 5.6 here. So I will write 5.6, right? How many rows are there in S2 table where the height is more than 5.6? How many rows are there, guys?
2.
1,
2.
2, right? So
Right.
this will give you 2. Is 2 equals to 1? No.
No.
So this person will not be printed, right? Then it comes here and selects this row. Now, what is S1.height now?
But Pratik, I want to ask one more thing. If 5.6 is not greater than 5.6, then what will be the result of that?
Hey, 5.6 is
It's
Ashish?
not greater than 5.6 in
No,
second
no,
table
like,
also.
see this inner query will run completely, right? So it's asking you how many rows are there in S2 table where the height is more than 5.6. Ashish, how many
Okay,
rows?
I understand, but in this S2 table also 5.6 height is there, right?
Okay, na? So this person's height is not more than this person, than 5.6. Are you getting what, Ashish?
Okay.
See, what is it asking? It's asking how many rows are there in S2 table, in the S2 table, where the height column's value is more than 5.6.
Okay.
How many rows are there?
2.
2, right? And 2
Right.
is not equals to 1.
Right.
I
Right,
got
right.
the point to take, because
Right.
there's always be a case where the answer will be 1 in case of the second largest.
Absolutely.
Because it
Right.
will, yeah.
How
Got
many
it.
rows are there which are greater than 5.4? So you would say 1, 2, 3.
3.
3
3.
is not equals to 1. So this will also not get printed. Then it comes over here, 5.8. How many rows are there which are greater than 5.8?
0.
0. 0 is not equals to 1. Again, this will not get printed. Then it goes here, 5.2. How many rows? So you would say 4. 4 is not equals to 1. So this is also not printed. Then it comes over here and checks 5.7. How many rows are there? The answer is 1. 1 is equals to 1. And hence this row gets printed, which is actually the second highest.
So if we are looking for the third highest, we should write equals to 2. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the third highest will in itself will be the third highest.
Absolutely right.
Okay, got it.
So what is happening here, guys? What we are trying to do here is we are trying to compare each row of one table with all the other rows of the same table, one by one. Then also we can use co-related subquery. Did you understand, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Pratik.
Now,
So Pratik, if in case we need to find out which is the shortest, I mean, any of the student which is shortest among the two tables, then how will this correlated subquery will work?
yeah, why not? You tell me how.
So smaller than?
The wheel too small, yeah. Just change the symbol,
Absolutely right.
and then it will be equal to 1, right? Lastly, this whole query will be equal to 1.
If you are looking
Equals
for
to
the
0.
smallest one, so equals to 0.
This will be equals to 0, right, Pratik?
Yeah.
If the smallest
zero.
one.
If it is the shortest one, then it will be 0, no?
Okay. Mm.
Let's do.
What if Pratik, we have repeating values like 5.72 times in the record?
थोड़ा सा उसमें ये एल्गोरिथम काम नहीं करेगा.
Right. That was I was thinking also.
That was I was also asking Pratik at that time. 5.6 is not greater than 5.6.
Then this algorithm may not work there.
Sorry, I didn't. I missed the question. Sorry.
Sorry, we couldn't hear.
No. His question is, what if, let's say, sorry. Can you guys hear my? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Pratik, we can.
Yes,
Now.
you can now. Yeah.
So what the question was, what if there are
They are duplicating, yes.
so then this question may not necessarily work, I suppose.
I mean,
No.
we can.
Why?
This will work, but
It will.
there are two people hired in this. So now query will not work. It's not giving you the second tallest person.
Oh, if there are two that has similar height but greater than our criteria.
Absolutely.
But then we can use something like unique, distinct, or
Yeah, I'm just saying this same query will work.
yes,
You'll have to use count distinct.
yes.
In that case, you know what we will do is that we will just write count and then distinct and then height. Let's do a couple of quick questions here, guys. Yeah. Imagine, I'm sure you guys have had beer at least once in your life. Imagine you are a quality controller in a beer bottling plant. Where is my table gone?
So Pratik, mostly we are using this correlated query when there are questions related to comparison or like that, or what are the practical examples for this correlated query? I mean, we do have data sets and we can.
A lot of practical examples. That's what, you know. Let me give you one of the practical examples.
Because in this case, we used correlated query. We could have used rank or anything like that.
In this case,
yeah.
But see, I mean, what happens is, anyway, let's practice and then we will talk about
we can use on this data set.
Yeah. I want to use this data. Where is it? Oh, it's not here. You guys have the students' data, right?
Yes.
In the school DB, find this. Find the second highest. All right. I mean, okay. Let me rephrase the question. In the school DB, find the same named students using correlated subquery. Find the same name students having same names, same name. I get point. So for example, if you remember school DB, there is a table here called as, so many tables, right? And select star from students. You'll find that there are some folks like Rupa where the name is repeating, right? So what we want to do is that we want to find the names that are repeating. Find the students having same name. So let me tell you the logic. So here what you would check is for a student to have the same name, right? The ID should be different, but the name should be same within the same table. So you will compare in the same table, for example, from students as S1, right? Where, what would you do, guys? For a student to have the same name, there should not be any person with a different ID. Oh, sorry, for a student to have the same name, there should be different, there should be a person with a different ID but same name in the student table itself. So where instead of not exist, we should write exist, select star from students as S2, where S2 dot, what should I write?
Full name equal to S1 dot full name.
S2 dot full name, but the ID should be different, right?
And
Yes.
And S1 dot ID
Not equals to.
not equal to.
not equals to S2 dot ID. So if you notice, it gives you the list of names that are repeating. Is it making sense, everybody?
Yes, but
Did you understand how we have used exist here? Exist will become true when this query, the inner query, returns one or more rows. Got it? Now, I could have also done this instead of using exist. The same query I could have also done where this count star of this.
Greater than 1.
This is what I was doing.
I get a point. Look at one more thing here, guys. Yeah, I mean, let's extend that question. Among the same name students, show the student who has scored the highest. Among the same name students, show the student who has scored the highest. Does it make sense, everybody? So if in this query, I show the M test,
so can we use max here? Max function?
how would you use max? Because remember, there can be two people as well who are the same, who are the highest. So
Okay, yeah.
think
You will be rank. Will you put the rank here?
You don't even have to. So
Okay.
says students as S2 and S2 dot full name is S1 dot full name and S1 dot ID is not equals to S2 dot ID. And for a name to be, for a student to be highest, to have scored highest, right? What should we have? Nay, this is not giving you the highest, this is giving you let me see this. Let's see if we can. So this count star strategy will work there. So count star will essentially mean how many rows are there in the student S2 table where the names are same, IDs are different. That means different names having different people having same name. And S2.mtest is less than S1.mtest. These are all same name students. But among them, S2.mtest is less than this. And that should be greater than 1. Does that make sense, guys?
Can you explain, Prateek, how it works?
See, if you look at this, what is this giving you, Sanjeev? It's giving you number of rows, right?
Yes.
IDs are different, names are same. That means different people having same name.
Yeah.
Right? Now, for a person who has a different name, different ID but same name, right? Let's say there is another Sanjeev, but that Sanjeev has scored lesser than you, right? Then we are saying count star value. That means how many rows are there, how many Sanjeevs are there in the table who have scored lesser.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We are saying that should be, let's say, who have scored lesser. Let's say there is another Sanjeev who has scored lesser.
Yes.
So there is another Sanjeev who has scored lesser in the same table, and let's say there are two such Sanjeevs, then it will be 1. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Greater than 1. If there is only one such Sanjeev, then it will not come, which is fine. If there are 2, 3, so this will work for 3 people. This will not work for more than 3 people. This will work for 3 people, this logic.
So, Prateek, why can't we use here, if we have more number of, the result is high. Right now, it's just 3. So, can't we use rank and then take out the second?
Yeah, rank. See, you know why we learn correlates of queries, Sanjeev?
Yeah.
Rank, dense rank, row number, those functions actually are made using correlates of query. Are you going to point, Sanjeev?
Say it again.
Rank, dense rank,
yeah,
row number, or any other window function typically for
yes,
that
yes.
are actually made using correlates of queries.
Okay.
So what happens is, if somebody knows correlates of query, then they can actually create their own window functions also.
Okay.
I get a point. So I want to avoid using, I wanted to avoid using right there. But anyway, so anyway, you guys got the gist, I mean, the idea is that we use code subquery, and I'm going to give you a very simple case study, one question case study on code subquery, whereby we will see how we can use this. If you remember, yesterday we did one question where we had to assign where we had to assign a roll number alphabetically, right? We had to assign roll number alphabetically to the students, and we use row number function to assign that, isn't it? So for example, students as S1, look at this, just to show you another method. S2 dot mtest is greater than S1 dot mtest. Okay, is this giving you 17p or it's not giving you 17? Oh, sorry. Any idea what is happening here? Look at this. Any idea what is happening here?
Full name? Okay, count.
So for every student, what we are doing is we are creating a serial number column on the basis of alphabetical sorting of full name. The same thing that we did with the help of row number, right? But this time we're not using one of the window functions, but we're actually simulating it with the help of code subquery. Here, for every student from the S1 table, we're trying to find out how many rows are there in S2 table where the full name is alphabetically smaller. This is smaller than meaning alphabetically smaller. A is smaller than B, or A is smaller than Z. Is making sense, guys? And then whatever that number comes, for example, if you take the first student, let's say this one, there is nobody who would be alphabetically smaller, right? So then this will result 0. And 0 plus 1 would mean this person gets the serial number as 1. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, guys? For the first row, let's say for star BA, there is nobody who comes before star BA. For AAA, this star BA comes before AAA. So then how many rows are there which are lesser than this? So 1, So plus 1, so this becomes 2. Is it making sense, everybody? Same thing
Yes.
we did using row number, but this is where you can simulate this also. Okay, now I will upload the queries on code subquery. I'll upload the scripts as well on code subquery. I will give you one small business case on code subquery. Okay, very, very small. We'll have only one question in it. Now, just to do a quick recap of the topics that we have discussed, okay? Sorry. We started our discussion in our batch with something called a relational database management system. We learned what is an ER diagram. We learned about concepts like primary key, foreign key, and various different relationships. So one to many, one to one, many to many, right? That helps us to figure out where should we put the foreign key. And that was part of, all of that was part of ER diagram. Then we learned how do we create the database, tables in the database, columns in the tables, right? And how do we modify, alter the design as well? How did we do all these statements? How did we do all these things? With what kind of statements? DDL statements, right? Like create, alter, drop. Then we learned about data manipulation, language statement, which helped us to modify the data, insert the data, update the data, delete the data. And what kind of, so they were called as DML, and what statements were there? Insert, update, delete.
Rename.
So create, alter, drop, truncate, select. And then we spent a lot of time into analyzing the data using select queries, right? In select queries, we have learned a lot of things. We have learned how to write functions for date manipulation, time manipulation, string manipulation. We've learned how to write functions for numerical calculations. We have learned functions to, to summarize the data and so forth. We also learned group by, order by. We learned group by with having. Then we learned window functions. We learned the role of limit. We learned user-defined variables. How do we define user-defined variables, guys?
Set at the rate the
Column.
With at sign.
Rate and variable name, right? And how do we assign any value to it? Colon equals to
Equals to.
Value.
right? Then
C, common expression.
yeah, common
Table.
table expression.
Yeah.
And also we learned views. Yeah.
Window function, text functions.
Text functions.
Text functions. And today we
Union
learned
joins.
We even did joins, unions, like, not like, between.
like, not like,
Like, in, not in,
regular expression,
in, not in.
not in. And then we worked with multiple tables with the help of union, left join, left join, right join, full join. So quite a bit of things, guys. A lot of things. Yeah.
Pratik, what is,
sorry, go ahead, Sanjeev.
what on the top you have written RDBMS. What is that? What the full? What's the full?
Relational
database.
database manager.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
All right. Good that you asked.
Database management system.
Relational database management system. And Sanjeev, why we call it as a relational database management system? Because if you remember, we discussed a concept called as normalization, right? Normalization was to split the database into multiple subject-based tables and create relations between them so that we avoid redundancy.
Yes,
And
yes.
hence, a database management software which supports such relational database models to be created are called as relational database management system. Sandeep.
All right, all right.
Prateek,
Hmm.
if I'm not wrong, we were about to cover like how to use SQL within Excel.
So, Ankita, I wanted to, and I would definitely want to still, but what I thought, Ankita, was that I would actually record a short video and send it over because I was trying to fit into the class schedule because it was not original part of the class schedule and I just couldn't have fit into it. If you guys want, I can take 15 minutes right now and show it to you.
Yeah, I love that. I have
Yeah,
15
yeah, why not?
I
So
would
they have a
love to.
quiz
Please.
also to complete.
Quiz, I mean, that's fine. I mean, will that quiz take 1 hour, Chanchal?
So 4:30. Because then 4:30, Shani ma'am will take the Power BI session for installation of the software.
Achha, I will tell Ishani to take it. That's fine. I mean, she has a lot more sessions. Okay, let me show you, because I'm very excited about how to use SQL queries or how to fire SQL queries onto, from within Excel.
Yeah, because we use
Yes,
Excel
yes.
a lot, so it will be really helpful to actually connect both the dots.
Yes, no issues at all. I would just need somebody who was able to install MySQL Workbench on their local machine.
I have.
You have?
I have.
Okay. So Ankita, why don't you share your screen?
Sure.
And guys, don't try to follow the steps right now. Just look at it. It's not difficult at all. If you understand it conceptually, it's really literally not difficult. I mean, you can easily do it by yourself. Go ahead and download one. This is a local. This is a local machine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and download. Go to Chrome. Go to Google and search for something called as ODBC connector. ODBC connector for Excel. Oh, sorry. Type MySQL connector, not ODBC. MySQL connector. Just replace ODBC to MySQL. Is this not Google? This doesn't look like Google. Just type google.com. Yeah. Because Google would have given you the first link. That's why google.com. MySQL connector for Excel. See, that's why Google is so famous.
This one?
Yeah, this one. Sorry. This one.
Okay.
So it's just one small connector that we have to install, guys. And okay. Go up. This is the documentation side. Go up. No, up. Yeah. Yeah. Go to downloads. No. Okay. Just search in Google. Go back to Google and search download MySQL connector for Excel. Download MySQL connector for Excel. Yeah. Just this. Yeah. The first. Yeah. This one.
The second one?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. Now, come down. Now, see, there are two versions, 64-bit and 32-bit. The version that you want to install is not dependent on the hardware of your desktop or laptop. It depends upon the software version of Excel. And how do we know whether our Excel software is 32-bit or 64-bit? Just open Excel, Ankita, and go to File, go to Options. Oh, sorry, go to Cancel. File, Account, and About Excel. See here it says 64-bit, right? You understand File, Account, About Excel, and you will understand the version of your, whether it is 64-bit or 32-bit Excel version, not the hardware version. So press OK. Yeah, go back. Yeah, now you want to install 64-bit, this one. Yeah, it's done. So just click on it. Next, next,
Yes.
next, next. Just, yeah, that's fine.
Shall I select modify first window?
Oh, it's already actually okay, because at the time of installation, if you have installed the complete installation, then that means it's already there.
Yeah,
So
I
you
did
don't have
it.
to do anything. In this case, you don't have to do anything. I should have I mean, I just assumed that you do not have it. Yeah, you already have it. Finished. Otherwise, it would actually show you that install it. I mean, it won't show you modify, repair, and this will show you add. Now, what you need to do is, so that connector is important so that Excel can connect with MySQL database. Okay, so that is the reason why we needed that connector. Now, what we want to do is that we want to go to data, get data from other sources, not from SQL Server database. SQL Server is not the one that we were using. From ODBC, Object-Oriented Database Connectivity. That connector that we installed, MySQL is actually one of the ODBC databases. So ODBC.
Okay.
Object oriented, yeah, go there. Now, see what is happening is, sure, Govind. What is happening is, now if you click on this here, see here, it is showing you the data source names which are already created. It shows DBase, which is one of the databases, Excel files or Access databases, but it doesn't show MySQL yet. So what we need to do is, we need to, so just click on cancel. What we need to do is that we need to create a data source to connect with the MySQL database. And in order to create the database data source, we need to go to that that MySQL connector that we have installed. So go to your search and look for, go to your search and look for ODBC. Look for ODBC, look for MySQL database. Yeah, this one, ODBC is fine. Just this one is fine. This one, 32, 64-bit, 64-bit. No, 64.
Okay.
64-bit. I'm sorry. Look for ODBC 64-bit data sources. Now here you don't see MySQL data source name created. So click on add. Click on this Unicode driver.
Okay.
Click on finish. What do you think it will ask you to do?
Oh, data source name.
Yeah. Now do you remember the familiar screen?
Yeah.
So now put a data source name, anything. Just put like MySQL trial or something. MySQL trial. I'm sure MySQL may already be there in your description. Can be anything. You leave it out. The username is that username that you would have. Remember
That
I had it somewhere.
IB Pro or something.
Yeah,
Like
This one?
Yeah. And the password is the one that.
Oops, I copied password as well.
No.
So
Sorry.
the username is
Username is
admin,
admin. Yeah.
And this is the
host name.
Okay, this
is
should be
where
the database name.
No, this will go to the host name here.
Okay. Host name. Admin.
And the password is that.
Oops.
No extra spaces. Yeah. Now database name, if you want, otherwise, you can leave it also. Click on test. Great. Click on OK. Press OK again. Now, what you have done is you've created a data source name, which can be now used within Excel. Okay. Now just click on OK. Now, what is the next thing that we should do?
Go back to.
Yeah.
And then select MySQL from here.
Absolutely. Now wait.
Okay.
Click on this.
Mhm.
Now this is where you can write your SQL statement.
Okay.
So just go to go to your MySQL workbench. Let's copy paste one query. But you'll have to put the database name as well, because we have, I mean, okay, let's just put anything, I mean, just pick up any query, doesn't matter which
Okay.
query you want.
Select star basic query.
Yeah.
Okay, select star from,
But first I need to use.
no,
No?
you don't need to use. I'll tell you why you don't need to. Select star from, let's say at least, yeah, word, right?
We need to give the name of the database, or I can just
Yeah.
write the name of the table.
First database, then dot, then table.
Dot
I think.
table.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't
School
need to.
underscore DB dot students.
Yeah, okay. Students. Okay. Now give a yeah, press OK. Now here you don't need to, because you want it. Okay, go ahead and give the database name. If you want, you can give the database name. Otherwise, you can leave it. Press OK, because you know why it's not required, because you have already done that. It's already there. So it was.
Yeah.
Even if you give it, when you don't give, that's fine.
Can I try without giving anything?
Yeah. Go and click connect. Okay, maybe then different versions. Go ahead and give it. Now, what it has done is that it has taken the output from the database, this entire table, right? If you want, you can click on this load here, or you can click on this drop down here. Load to, click on load to, and then you can select from where you want to load this data. In a pivot table, in a specific place, or in a new worksheet. Let's say you select existing worksheet.
Oh, okay, existing worksheet.
And select, let's say A1. Yeah, press OK. Now, if you notice, it has extracted the data from the database, and plus it has established the connection with the database. That means if the data changes in the database in your MySQL cloud database, by the way, this is a cloud database. So we are now connecting to an AWS hosted MySQL database from within Excel by writing a SQL query, right? So if the data changes in my database in the cloud, you just have to refresh it here. Right click on this query, and there is a refresh button. When you would refresh, it will rerun that query, get the data from that cloud database again. I get a point.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Now,
not vice versa, right?
vice versa meaning?
We
If
do
we
some
update
changes in-
something here, it
Maybe.
gets updated in
No, but this is the select query. This is the output of a select query.
Oh, we are not altering anything, right?
What was that, Fazil?
We are not altering anything. That's right.
No. Output is like you have already extracted the data, Fazil.
Okay.
So the database doesn't maintain any relation with the reporting tool. The reporting tool maintains a relation with the database tool.
Okay.
I get a point, Fazil.
So if I do some certain analysis in Excel, and next day somebody changes the database, I will see a change database over here.
नहीं, आप वापस से समझो. Conceptually, you know why your question is not right, Fazil, is we have read the data. Isn't it, Fazil?
हाँ जी.
So it's there with us now. Whatever modification we want to make, we are making it in a local copy of the data.
लेकिन अभी आपने बोला ना रिफ्रेश करेंगे तो डेटा यहाँ पर सीक्वल में जो पड़ा है वैसा हो जाएगा, नहीं?
हाँ.
क्या मैं गलत समझा?
It will extract the data from the database again.
Okay.
but it won't send any data. Select query doesn't send any data to the database.
नहीं, वो मैं समझ गया, आपने जवाब दे दिया था। मैं कह रहा था कि मैं इस टेबल में कुछ एनालिसिस करता हूँ, ठीक है,
या
और फिर मैं इसको रिफ्रेश नहीं करता, सॉरी रिफ्रेश कर देता हूँ, तो मेरा एनालिसिस चला जाएगा, राइट?
No. The analysis will also be updated with the latest data. Let's say you end up creating multiple pivots on it in Excel, right? And using those pivots, you've created pivot charts on them, right? But the underlying data is what? Underlying data is this. So if you refresh it, then these pivots will also be refreshed, and these hence pivot charts will also be refreshed.
हाँ, लेकिन मैंने मान लिया डेटा का कुछ नंबर बदल दिया, इसमें एम टेस्ट में कुछ नंबर बदल दिया, तब मैं रिफ्रेश करूंगा तो मेरा इस टेबल में जो डेटा बदला है वो नहीं बदला, वो जो है सेव नहीं होगा, राइट?
हाँ नहीं, टेबल मतलब क्या, you know what I'm trying to say here, Faisal, is if you happen to, let's say, change this, right? This doesn't impact the database.
It does not, वो तो क्लियर है।
हाँ,
लेकिन मैंने चेंज करा, अपना एनालिसिस यही इसी एक्सेल में करा, और अगले दिन मैंने फिर से रिफ्रेश कर दिया, तो एक्सेल मेरे लिए मतलब रिफ्रेश हो जाएगी बेसिकली डेटा।
Absolutely.
देन वी हैव टू, मतलब डिस्कनेक्ट करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? वैल्यू स्पेशल करना पड़ेगा?
नहीं, इसको क्वेरी को राइट क्लिक एंड डिलीट दिस क्वेरी।
ओके।
प्रतीक,
अरे भाई नो जाओ।
Yeah, what was that, Chanchal? Sorry, Shweta.
Pratik, why do I need to connect this? In fact, in the SQL workbench itself, I can run the query and I can export in the format of Excel, and I can do all the.
But you have to do them manually, right, Shweta?
Okay, so just to connect here, and then in order to do any analysis, I can write the query and I will refresh. That's it.
And if you want to modify this query, you can right click here and go to edit. Right click here, go to edit. And here, this is called as a query editor. Now, it's not so easy to modify this here unless you see here. Do you see this here?
Yes.
So this is where you can actually modify the query manually also. If you know how to write query, it becomes much easier.
Understood.
So Pratik, what I understood is that we can only run select queries in Excel, right?
Yes.
Rest all the modification or update or insert that we need to do in the MySQL workbench.
I mean, in the database.
Yeah, in the database.
SQL or SQL or any other client. That's
yeah. Okay. So here in Excel only we can extract the data and do the analysis, right?
That is what, as an analyst, that is what you do 99% of the time.
Right.
You read and extract the data so that you can analyze it.
Got it.
Got it.
Well, Sanjeev, we can also, connect with the ADO object in the VBN, put down a user form to fetch the entries or take the user form and then put into the SQL. That was, I believe most of them were asking, Pratik, since we have a lot of project we use for the automation and we deliver many tools. So might possible they were asking for user forms.
Oh, user forms. User forms are there as part of the VB. I mean, I don't know. I mean, did you have user forms as part of VBA?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's when, I mean, then that's when you are actually deploying all your skills to actually build an app. Right? I mean, say for example, you have a great interface, you also have a great database, and you also have an analytics engine in between. Analytics engine in between is your queries, whereby you're analyzing, I mean, you're saying that, okay, I want this data grouped by this, having this, count this, so on and so forth. And then you're presenting, you're presenting in a nice reporting format. Then, your complete app is there. Do you understand?
Okay.
So we call that kind of a person who actually understands how to build a web app also, how to connect with the database as well, and how to do that analytics in between as a full stack data scientist, which is the industry buzzword, by the way. very difficult to get one person who understands everything. The presentation layer, the in-between analytics layer, which is the queries, the database layer, and also the integration of all things together. Anyway, guys, I don't want to take more time because Ishani would then be scolding me. I think you guys have some 25-30 minutes of assessment, guys. You will also have an assessment on SQL, and I will let we will let Vinay know. I think it's next week on Monday, if I remember it correctly. We will let Vinay know about the time as well.
Yes, yes.
We will be having SQL assessment on Monday, right?
Yes.
Assessment.
Okay.